Thank you for staying with us. You're still watching The Breakfast on Plus TV Africa. It's time to take the global stories that has made it to the front pages of our national dailies this morning. And joining us to review the papers is Jide Johnson, is a public affairs analyst. Good morning, sir. Thank you for joining us.
Good morning, Rume. Good morning to our viewers all over the world. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much. All right, we'll start with the Punch, and the Punch leads with May Day. In fact, I'd like to say Happy Workers' Day to you, even though it was yesterday, but Happy Workers' Day to you. And so it says, So it says, May Day, Labour pushes for tax cuts, pension overhaul in fresh 20-point demand. The writer here says, Tinubu governors pledge better deals for workers as NLC, TUC insists on new demands. And of course, underneath there says, governors join workers to celebrate May Day in Lagos, Kaduna, others. So right now, we know that, okay, the minimum wage stands at 70,000 naira. And even though when this was signed into law, we've seen inflation, rise over time, right? The fuel that we've been buying, the price has been fluctuating. Whatever you bought yesterday at a certain price, but yet we're still looking at the 70,000 naira minimum wage. Do you think it's high time, takes the bull by the horn and say, okay, we want to do something that is substantial? And the reason why I'm asking this is, one of the things that made a ripple effect to everything we're seeing today was a statement that the president made when he assumed office, saying fuel subsidy is gone. And the reason why they decided to take fuel subsidy out was, of course, they said there was a cabal, they had to pay and whatnot, and they wanted to use that money, to give it to, the governors, the local councils, just basically for development. Why are they not using it? Workers get better pay, better pensions and whatnot. What's your take on the fact that Labour right now is demanding, for tax cut, pension overhaul in this 20-point demand that they have?
Yeah, believers come to realization that it is not about salary increment or wages increment that really solves the problem. That the fact that federal government increased minimum wage to 70,000 per month has not really solved the economic problem of the citizenry. In actual sense, it contributed more to inflation, and it increases the cost of living and the rest of it. So Labour is now making the actual demand that ameliorates the sufferings of the working class, one, which is hiking petroleum product, removal of fuel subsidy, removal of education subsidy, and introduction of student loan, which we have seen has been embedded with corruption based on the report of ICPC, and different form of hidden taxes that government has further imposed on the citizenry, which takes away the disposable income of the citizenry. So Labour is now making a fresh demand with respect to the need for tax cut, with respect to the need for government to review the electricity tariff, with the need for government to look at the telecom tariff. Government in one hand gave the citizen salary increment, and government on the other hand, using many fingers, took away the money they have also given the citizenry. So we are even, despite the increase in the salaries and wages of workers, the standard of living has nosedived. There's an indirect inverse relationship between the increase in minimum wage and the standard of living and the cost of living of an average Nigerian. So it's important for these labor leaders to understand the economic dynamics when they make their demand. Beyond demanding for increasing in salary, what are the other incentives that you put in place? They are talking about welfare packages, they are talking about reform of the pension and the rest of it. You look at the kind of pension the political class collects working for the state just for 4 years or 8 years, and then compare that with the pension of somebody that worked for the state for the nation for 35 years, And look at the process it takes them to collect their pension. I give you an example. I lost my first wife in 2019. Till date, and she's worked for 22 years. Till date, not a single pension has been collected. The process in collecting a pension is more frustrating than traveling through Libya, through the desert to get to Libya to go to Europe.
That's quite unfortunate. But so, what do you think that we need to do now? I know that Labour is obviously asking for this. What do you think the government's response should be at the moment?
What the government needs to what government needs to do is very simple. One, as I speak with you, I'm in Kwara State. I travel through the length and breadth, and I looked at the kind of natural resources that God has given to us. And I look at what governors do. They construct roads and they celebrate that. They don't invest in agriculture. They don't empower the people in various local communities. Even some of these local communities that you see the imprints of colonial government. You see the imprint of First Republic, but you not see the imprint of the Fourth Republic. Despite the fact that our revenue has increased, technology has improved, everything has improved, yet the lives of these people compared to what it was in the 60s was far better than what it is now. So government need to diversify this economy, invest in agriculture, bring back the industry, invest in manufacturing, create an enabling environment that allows for local investors, create an enabling environment that allows our people to tap into agriculture. Agriculture used to be the mainstay of our economy, in the 60s. In actual sense, the regional government were sustained by agriculture. So, but this present government, you know what they do? They construct roads, they construct bridges, and they throw media spotlight on it, and we clap our hand that they have done something. I said it over and over again. Doing infrastructure is just 1, 2, 3, or ABC of public governance. Public governance is much more than that. Public governance is about creating an environment that allows your citizenry to thrive, that allows small and medium-scale enterprise to thrive, that allow local investors to invest in your economy and to make money from your economy, create employment, which encourage other foreign investors to come and invest in your country, which earn you foreign exchange earning. But the present crop of leaders from 1999 to date that we have, it's unfortunate, I've said it, that it's unfortunate that it is even under democratic dispensation that we have enjoyed democratic dispensation for quarter of a century. And we are having a comparative analysis of previous administration, comparing it to the democratic experience that we have. You agree with me, the experiences of Nigerians in the previous dispensation that we have military interregnum in our politics is far better than our experiences today.
That is so true. I just hope that, things get better, right? We shouldn't be living in glory days and saying, the former was better and the latter isn't, what we expect. And like you said, things seemed better in the 60s. These are people who enjoyed free education. These are people who had good welfare. But it just seems like every single day things are deteriorating in Nigeria. I understand that the president has said, of course, these reforms are necessary and things would be, maybe we'll start to yield the dividends really soon. But I think it's important that we just still find ways to ensure that the people have some succor, if I can put it that way.
Rume, you understand? Let me quickly point this out. Sometimes people who elect into office think that they have eternity to do whatever they want to do. The president thinks that, well, he is entitled to second term, he will win re-election. That lies with the people. That usually one of the major mistakes that I've seen that successive government have made since 1999 till date is that they don't understand the principle of timing. Yeah. Timing is of essence. You can't be president more than 8 years. You can't be governor more than 8 years. And that is still tied to you getting the sovereignty, getting it through the ballot system, winning election and winning re-election. Now, if they don't understand this principle that we were taught while we were in primary school, tick say that clock, tick, tick. What you have to do quick. And they come up with plans, and their media strategy will cook different types of communication teams, and they will tell us the reform we have put in place, we yield dividend, we yield this. You remember when we used to talk about dividend of democracy? Where are the dividends? After 25 years investment. Now they've changed it to reform. The reform will yield result. Let's read. I hope the reform will not deform Nigeria, because what we have seen from the reform is that it has deformed a lot of Nigerians.
Oh wow! Honestly, I don't even have anything to say to that. But you are spot on. A lot of times they just come into office and think that they have all the time in the world, and we've seen that in most cases they don't even do as much in the first term as if they get re-elected. They don't do as much in the first term because they're just hoping that the second term I would now do more, and they're trying to get all the money that they've probably used for the election and looking for more money for the re-election, and maybe it's when they're about leaving that they would start doing one thing or the other. And we could see that even in the case of the Nigerian Air, right? The Nigerian Air, the aircraft and whatnot is just trying to be in a hurry. But anyways, I think, would I say this is a good news, even though I'm always skeptical when we're getting money in Nigeria. But it says the African Development Bank launches $650 million yearly economic support for Nigeria. So basically what they're saying is they want to, close the gap, the infrastructure gap. They just want to ensure that even women and women entrepreneurs can get more money, SMEs and whatnot. And this is going to be for, I think, about 6 years, but and it's about to the tune of 2.9 billion. But I think they're going to structure it in a way in 4 years they get something first. What's your take on this? The fact that we're going to see this, even though I don't know how it's going to reflect in our daily lives, because a lot of times you hear of these funds, you hear that the World Bank has brought this money, and sometimes you're wondering why are we not seeing the money? Why is it not trickling down to the masses? But what's your take on this? The fact that the African Development Bank, has pledged or is launching this $650 million yearly economic support for Nigerians.
Well, the bulk of the money, based on what you've read, is going to infrastructure. And then, the easiest way to make money from government is infrastructure. It costs much more money to construct 1 kilometer of road in Nigeria than anywhere in the world. And so who does the tracking? Who does the monitoring? Who does the evaluation? Who does the evaluation of the money that is spent on road infrastructure? Check it out. Every government keeps saying that they are constructing 30. I remember one government said they are going to construct 30,000 kilometers of road in Nigeria. And I tell you for a fact, I'm someone that widely traveled across the length and breadth of Nigeria. Between Ibadan and Ife is horrendous. And yet we have had vice president from the Southwest for 8 years. We have had president from the Southwest for 8 years. That's 16 years. We have president from the Southwest for 6 years. Yet you cannot travel between Ibadan. And if you can't travel between the Oyo State and Osun State, traveling on good passable road, and you wonder the origin of Yoruba race is in Ife, even the road leading to Ife is as terrible as hell. And so what they are just saying is that, as far as I'm concerned, when people talk about infrastructure in Nigeria, I think they are creating money for the boys. It's just a job for the boys. Why are they investing money? All the money they've invested in infrastructure, where are the infrastructure? Look, how many years did Chakondi spend as governor of Lagos State? How many years did Ambrose Ali spend as governor of Bende State? How many years?
So, Jide, this is not just even infrastructure. What it says is, according to the bank, the strategy aims to close Nigeria infrastructure gap, but they're going to be investing in climate-friendly roads, electricity expansion, clean water systems, and supporting agri-businesses that create jobs, especially for women and youth.
The moment I see climate in any fund that is being spent, because I there's something that tingles in my brain with respect to where is this money going to? You see money that have been spent on climate and the environment, yet you look at the rate of, if they have spent that in improving lives of people in the rural community, in investing in agriculture, all the money the global powers have invested in climate change, if they have invested it in agriculture, I can assure you that some of the problems, in actual sense, even the best way to solve climate problem is for you to go to go green. And how do you go green?
Yeah.
You go agriculture, you go back to nature, you plant more trees. It's very, very simple.
For cleaner energy.
All this is very, very simple. When they talk about biodiversity and the rest of it, it's because we have engaged in deforestation, we have engaged in cutting trees. Let me give you a classic example. Look at Ikoyi now and Ikoyi in the 80s. Look at GRA now and GRA in the 80s. When God created man, you know where God placed man? According to the Jewish account of creation, God did not put man in a house. God placed man in a garden. Because there is a relationship, there is a symbiotic relationship between man's survival and plants. Plants need carbon dioxide to survive. So they breathe out carbon dioxide, they breathe out oxygen, and they take in carbon dioxide. Human breathe out carbon dioxide, human takes in oxygen. It's simple, ABC of human survival, environmental survival. But people cook up different types of ideas to make money. As far as I'm concerned, I am this climate skeptic. I don't believe in it. Because look, go to the rural areas. Why do they live long? Because they are closer to nature. The closer you are to nature, the longer you live. And it is people in big cities that have big diseases. So as far as I'm concerned, when they talk about all this money, all this foreign intervention, don't forget that all of these aids come with some strings. I might be wrong, but that's my thinking.
That's how I feel.
Where does this money goes to? In most cases, some of this money, you have round tripping concerning this money. Because sometimes they use most of this money for training, for seminar, for buying jeeps, for buying all of these things. We know, if you have engaged in all of these intervention programs, you understand what I'm talking about.
Yes, sir. Anyways, honestly, like I said, I'm always skeptical when we hear of funds like this, because you're wondering, okay, what do we have to do? And a lot of times you don't actually see the funds do as much for the people. So I'm always skeptical. But let's look at another story here. So it's on the Punch. It says federal government VCs under fire over 100 billion naira student loan controversy. And on the Daily Trust, it leads with ICPC probes student loan scandal. So of course, we were hit by the news that there's been some scandal or some, would I say corruption with the NEL fund. And this was obviously by the DG of the National Orientation Agency, Larry, and was talking about how universities were obviously trying to sabotage the student loan. And honestly, Yamgol was even saying it that his son is in, I think, University of Calabar, and he did not say anything about this student loan. So with the tertiary institutions that are supposed to be giving out this loan, for some weird reason, we just keep hearing that they're holding information about the disbursement, the beneficiaries, and whatnot. What do you think about, what's your comment on this student loan scandal? It's just sad that this is a thing that we see in Nigeria, and before you know it, to be swept under the carpet again, and everybody forgets about it. Because if you even think about the Ajaokuta Steel scandal, it was almost the same thing that has happened, and nobody's really speaking about it at the moment. But if something is to hit us like this, what should be the government response in all of this, and why is Nigeria always happening this way?
When it is government that is involved, can government prove itself? Can government prove itself? You see, when you recall the crisis that characterized this bill. It was first passed, then it was reviewed before it was passed, because there were comments, criticism. You see, criticism makes life better. Even Almighty God says, come, let us reason together. When you don't put too much reasoning into what you are doing, when you are in a hurry to score cheap political points, to allocate stars and stripes to your shoulder, these are the kind of problems we create. To have talking points in terms of what the government has achieved. Oh, our government has achieved this in the first 100 days. It is not how fast you run, but it is how well you run. That is the most important thing. As far as you and I are concerned, we knew that there are potential loopholes in this in this act that was meant to provide funds for students in terms of student loan and the rest of it, because they quickly removed the subsidies that the universities are enjoying, the one that students are enjoying. You ask yourself this question: these people that are in government today, when they went to university, what did they enjoy? These were people that enjoy free education. These were people that had access to bursary. Not only did they have access to bursary, they also have access to student loan, which was scholarship in different form. But all of a sudden, because we are running a hyper-capitalism government, we are running a government that is controlled by bankers, and that's why you see government is always about the bottom line, and that's why you see that the people that make much more profit in Nigeria are the banks. And you ask yourself, what are the services they are delivering? And the people that the people that have also made more money in the last 2 years is the government. You see the achievement we talk about. Look at the kind of revenue, saying that, oh, the kind of money he has collected in the last 2 years as a governor of Imo State, they had never collected it before. So you could see their mass delivery. Their mindset is about making money and not about empowering the people, reducing the standard of living, and reducing crime. As far as they are concerned, in terms of their approach, it is about what are the things we can call our political achievement. That's what they are after. And not what are the legacies we are going to leave behind, what are the impact we are going to leave in the lives of the people that we are governing.
Yeah. It's quite sad and unfortunate. It just seems like every day you're just hearing things and seeing things in Nigeria, and you're just wondering why. Why must Nigeria always happen this way? Anyways, still on the Daily Trust, there's a story here that says bank customers weigh options over hike in SMS alert charges. On the Business NG, it leads with customers fume over 6 naira SMS charges by banks. And, you know, it's just funny how with the banking system, there's so many charges. You obviously get the EMT charge, EMTL charge. You have that I don't know if that's the same as the stamp duty. You have the account maintenance. You have the SMS. So many. What's your take on this? And don't you think this needs to be better regulated, especially by the CBN? Because it just seems like we're having multiple taxation of even people that are not getting as much money, especially when the minimum wage is 70,000 naira. What's your take on this, please?
It's very simple. When the government itself is a beneficiary, when the government itself has imposed different form of taxes on you and I, and so why would they? And when they are also using the bank to make money indirectly, I tell you this, Rume. If the banks, in terms of SMS charges and the rest of it, they make 1,000 naira from every Nigerian. Let's say 1,000 naira from every Nigerian in 1 year. 1,000 naira times 120, 150 or 250 million Nigerian. What does it give to you? If the bank's customers, let's say the base of the customers they have is just 100 million, 500 naira times 500 naira times 100 million, or let's even period from you and I. Account maintenance and water. That's where the banks are making money. The banks in Nigeria are committing economic and financial crime. That's the reality. But EFCC will not look into that. What the EFCC will be looking at is to look for Yahoo boy left, right, and center, and then to arrest governors after they have committed the economic and financial crime. Something which they are meant to prevent from happening. They wait for it to happen and they will arrest them, or to go after people for naira abuse. You understand that when purpose, Miles Moron said, when purpose is not known, abuse is inevitable. We've seen different. Look, by the time you just check, if you send me 10,000 naira, why send you 10,000 naira to your account? The moment the money leaves my account and is sitting in your account, what happens to it? Will you get 10,000 naira? Rume? You will not get it. Money will be deducted from me that is sending money to you. Money will be deducted from you that you are receiving money from me. It's a crime against humanity.
I just never
And it is regulatory body that is allowing that. And we are having an economy that is controlled by bankers. Bankers don't think about economic growth. They think about bottom line, how they can make money.
Honestly, I just cannot understand it because, like I always say, studying in the UK, you don't get all of these charges. So, in fact, it was like I wouldn't even call it a culture shock because it shouldn't be a culture, but sadly, that's the culture with the Nigerian banks. And you just wonder, like, why am I being charged so much? Why am I being taxed so much? And it just seems like multiple taxation because you're paying for this, you're paying for that, and so many things from just one account. So imagine if you have maybe 2 or 3 accounts, you're being charged people's accounts that are minus something just because the account is still functioning and they're telling you account maintenance maintaining with the account. There's so many questions, to ask with that. So many questions, but let's just move on. So there's another story here that says welfare crisis, Labour to shut 110 Unity schools. And of course, anyone who knows Unity schools are the federal government colleges that we have in Nigeria. I went to a Unity school. I went to Federal Government College, Warri. And seeing this, the welfare might not just be what people are expecting, right? And now the federal government is looking to shut down 110 of the federal Unity colleges over the unresolved welfare challenges that they're having, the welfare issues. What's your take on this? Shouldn't the government themselves be prioritizing the education of the students? In fact, one of our top trending stories this morning was a school that was already dilapidated. So this government, they're supposed to be thinking of ways to ensure that students have better education. Instead of shutting it down, isn't that what they're supposed to be looking at? I think I may be confused here. Your comments, please.
Yeah, you're not confused. You're actually right. Yet they want to shut down Unity schools. Yet they are establishing federal universities. The number of federal universities or federal institutions, polytechnic they've approved, they've done. You see some sort of contradiction concerning government policy. You see this conflicting personality when it comes to government policies and those that are superintending over these policies. On one hand, you are establishing multiple university systems. On the other hand, secondary education, you want to destroy. What will feed into these universities these various schools you are creating are the secondary schools. And they said they want to close it because of welfare. It shows that they have failed. And if they close that school, that's where the opposition is dead in Nigeria in actual sense. And so they can, these are issues that the opposition needs to feed in. They bring into the consciousness of the citizenry. There's an open marketplace of ideas, conflicting ideas, competing ideas, and so that the citizenry will participate in the process and the sphere of public opinion will help government to shape its public policy. But what we have is that there is no opposition. We are moving towards a party state, one party state, and when you have one party system, what you have is authoritarian and dictatorial government, and the government can do whatever it pleases. Can you imagine a democratic elected government seeking re-election, planning to close over 100 Unity schools that were establishing to bring Nigerians together from all walks of life? I used to say this, in primary school and in secondary school, we don't know race, we don't know tribe, we don't know religion, we don't know all of these things. We eat together, we play football together, we go to each other's house. It is when we get to the university, the more educated we are, the more tribal, the more prejudicial we become, the more religious, the more what have you. And these schools, the primary schools and the secondary schools, are schools that bring unity. And the concept behind Unity School is to bring unity in diversity, to bring Nigerians from all over lives to attend school together, to go together. And if they want to cancel this, if they want to whether prescribe or whatever they want to do, I'm short of words to use to describe what they want to do. Whatever they want to do concerning this, let them go ahead. It's their government, it's their time, and it will be on record that during their tenure, schools were closed.
Were shut down. See, it just seems like every news, like I said, you're being bamboozled with so many things because, I mean, you would expect the government to have proactive thinking, critical thinking, and say, you know, what can we do better? We need to look at different sectors and find ways to, you know, just ensure that these sectors are growing and flourishing. And the health sector, or rather, the health sector is one, but the educational sector is another. And it's important that, you know, you give these kids the quality education that they need. If the welfare is bad and they're having issues, then what you should be thinking of is, what can we do? What's the Minister of Education doing? What can we do better? Instead of saying that you want to shut it down, but like I said, we live in Nigeria, everything happens however they want it to be, and we really do not have much of a say. And the only say that we have is when we go to the polling units. And I hope that come 2027, a lot of people are taking notes and looking at these things and, you know, now having to change their mind, change their thinking when it comes to the type of leaders that they elect. So we'll just wait and see.
The system they put in place does not guarantee you that they've not done electoral reform. Don't have any hope concerning 2027
and a lot election. Of times, and if there are no
if there are no electoral reforms, forget it. The election result of 2027 is already determined.
And a lot of times, I wanted to say that the people that we have in the government are selected, you know, most times to tell you is the court that appoints these people. So it's not even really the votes that you have, but we always have to keep trying. We always have to keep trying and hope that democracy.
How do you justify this? A professor that rigged the election for the sitting Senate president has been sentenced to jail. The beneficiary of that is the Senate President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
Oh, Mr. Jide. I have nothing to say. I have absolutely nothing to say.
He's just the beneficiary of that is the Senate President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria that did not even contest the primaries of his party. Welcome to Nigeria. If you are having hope concerning 2027 election without any reform, I'm sorry, you are chasing a pipe dream.
All right.
I'm not a prophet of doom. I'm only giving interpretation to what is in the word space.
What is factual. I know. All right, this is how much we can take right now. We have to go on a short break. Jide, we want to say thank you so much for coming. It's always a pleasure reviewing the papers with you. Thank you so much, sir.
Namaste.
Namaste. All right, we've been speaking with Jide Johnson. He's a public affairs analyst, and we've just been taking the stories that made it to the front pages of our national dailies. We'll go on a short break now. When we return, we'll be discussing our first hot topic, so please stay with us.